Revolutionary greetings, comrades. President Emerson Mnangagwa is attending the Forum for Africa-China Cooperation in Beijing. He took the opportunity to meet with the Zimbabweans in Beijing, where, amongst others, he said he is going to follow what the Constitution says, that he will step down when his second term ends in 2028. That was a political statement. It's a political statement. You can believe him if you want. That's how he operates. Right? That's how President Emerson Mnangagwa operates. Remember, 2004, the Cholocho Declaration. Chairpersons of ZANU-PF, provincial chairpersons, went to gather in a school in Cholocho district. They were led by Professor Jonathan Moyo. And the agenda was in preparation for the December ZANU-PF Congress, which was to elect one of the vice presidents. Remember, Vice President Simon Muzenda had died, so there was a vacancy. So in December, there was an expectation that someone was to be elected from the old ZANU-PF side. So President Emerson Mnangagwa worked with the chairpersons, provincial chairpersons, including then Professor Jonathan Moyo, who was a minister by then. But when the chairpersons went to gather in Cholocho to strategize on how then Minister Mnangagwa was to be elected as a co-vice president or second secretary of ZANU-PF and vice president of ZANU-PF, he did not show up. All the provincial chairpersons that had gathered in Cholocho were suspended, including Professor Jonathan Moyo, were suspended. And President Mnangagwa then said, no, he had no knowledge of what was happening. And you think that the provincial chairpersons were going to gather in Cholocho without him being involved in his own campaign, because the beneficiary of that was him. But he said, no, I was not aware of this. He was not suspended. But everyone who was involved in the Cholocho meeting was suspended. Of course, later on at the ZANU-PF Congress, President Mnangagwa contested and lost to then Vice President Joyce Mujuru. Right? Sometime back, about 7 years ago, one of the then youth leaders in ZANU-PF Youth League were saying it was time that Emerson Mnangagwa needed to succeed President Mugabe. And President Mnangagwa said, then Vice President Mnangagwa said they were mad to call on him to succeed Mugabe. In other words, he had no interest in succeeding Robert Mugabe as President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. But we all know what happened. So if you want to believe that what he said in Beijing, including with one interview with some internationalist journalist which is circulating on social media, where he spoke of respecting the Constitution. And you then think that the people that are calling for him to stay on for a third term, firstly, they are saying they have to amend the Constitution, extend his presidency to 2030. Not only his term of office, but together with that of parliament and councillors to about 7 years, to another 2 years, which will be 7 years. He is very much deeply involved in that. and of course, this he might get the extension. So he might not have elections in 2028. Because this does not only benefit President Emmerson Mnangagwa, it benefits members of parliament, it benefits councillors. Remember, in 2005, in March, MPs were elected. Then in November 2005, senators were elected, all for a 5-year term. Right? Then, because the presidential elections were in 2002, and the Mugabe's term of office was coming in 2008. And you remember what was happening internally in ZANU-PF at the ZANU-PF Goromonzi People's Conference in 2006, where others were challenging Mugabe using Simba Makon to say you can't beat Tsvangirai in election, so they wanted Simba Makon to replace him. And of course that failed, which then later on Simba Makon has to withdraw and stood under Muvambo project. Right. Mugabe sensing defeat, that if you were to stand alone, you remember what was called the Pora Musango. Mugabe sensed the defeat, that if he was to stand alone, without marshalling everyone in the party to get into the election campaign, he realized that even rigging was not going to save him. So he had to cut short the life of senators, the term of senators and the members of parliament, and they said we must have a harmonized election in 2008. So that everyone in ZANU-PF was going to campaign. Right. Even that did not get him the 50% plus 1 vote. So, fast forward, if today ZANU-PF structures are saying, no, Mnangagwa 2030, we've spoken about this so-called division, it does not benefit him alone. It benefits councillors, it benefits members of parliament, senators. So even those in the opposition, councillors, members of parliament, senators, will support such a move. So it might not be difficult to extend the term of office to 2030, right? Now, so he will have scored. That would be the victory for Mnangagwa. But it tells you that, like we were saying in Beijing, you know, I'm stepping down in 2028. We are not going to have elections in 2028. The question is, would he then stand in 2030? Because we're not going to have elections in 2028, but was telling his audience in Beijing that we are going to have, he's going to step down in 2028. He knows the date. He says this when ZANU-PF in October is going to what they call an annual people's conference, where parliament is going to be instructed to amend, to agree to extend the term of office, which benefits parliamentarians. So you can believe President Mnangagwa if you want, but he's going to be president until 2030. Only death will stop him. But other than that, he's going to be president until 2030. So the bigger question, therefore, is, will ZANU-PF take us to a referendum to amend the constitution for Mnangagwa to serve for a 3rd term? He wants that to happen as well. He wants that to happen. So the first step is to get this extension to 2030. Then from there, it's about how do you get him to stand in 2030 for a 3rd term in office. He's not prepared to leave office. So what he was saying in Beijing was just but a political statement. Please write your comments, like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please do follow us. I'm Comrades.